Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to Popternative. This is the talk show and podcast where we have digital discussions, worlds of TV, film, everything really depending on the guest. We talk about it all. As always, I'm your host, Peter Remoliotis. On social media, you know me as PD Beats. We're talking about a film called The Sleepless, which is out on Prime today and will be out on VOD April 27th. We're speaking to the writer-director Michael DiBiasio-Ornelas and the star Nyambi Nyambi. Michael Nyambi, welcome to Popternative.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Michael, we talked about before we started a little bit, you wore many hats on this project. What was that kind of like, wearing many hats on this project? And did you kind of like, was it one of those things where you like, it was kind of like you had to kind of do a lot of different things on this and maybe just writing it and directing it wouldn't be enough type thing? What was that like for you?
Yeah. So, I try to, writing and directing is always, always my jam. So but I try to compartmentalize. So, I wear the writer hat up until the script I feel is ready. Try to, as best I can, to take that off and on the director hat. And I'll call the writer in every once in a while if I need some help. And then on the producer side, I did much less on this than I've done on anything before. It's just kind of continuing to be on the production level and advocate of the story to the degree that I can. And we had some great producers that were doing the bulk of the heavy work on that aspect.
Oh, absolutely. And Nyambi, for you, you've been working on a lot of different projects. What was this project like compared to other projects that you worked on in the past, man?
It's very different in terms of, it's a two-hander, and we only had a certain amount of days to get these shots in. And so it's a rush, because it's sort of a run and shoot, and you want to get all of it in. You want to be able to tell the story, but you have 20 minutes to do this. Okay, so let's go. It was fun. I learned a lot from working on this. I learned a lot in terms of process. I found how important sleep was, oddly enough. Like, it was so amazing. I was like, I'm doing a movie called The Sleepless, and I'm learning about how important sleep really is. Like, you need sleep in order to pull this movie about the sleepless off. So I learned that a lot, and it was great. I mean, it was great. Like, it was ultimately a wonderful, awesome, great experience. Michael was such a great person to work with. Very, very kind, very, 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 very caring about, in terms of my needs, my wants, our needs and wants. He better be with Rebecca, but seeing that they are also partners. But yeah, it was a great experience.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Michael, question for you, and then Nyambi, I want kind of your kind of response and add to it as well. I mean, this film, what I really loved about it is essentially, a conversation between two people. Like, the most of the movie is like a conversation, and I love that. For you, when you were writing this and putting this together, when did it click in that, this is the type of piece you wanted to do, a conversation between two people, where throughout this film, there's things said in between to the two characters that are kind of like, whoa, that kind of hit you pretty hard, even though it doesn't really seem like it. So what drove you towards this dialogue, date-driven film, Michael?
Yeah. So it started with a what if. So I myself have suffered and do still suffer from insomnia. So I was literally like walking in the streets of New York alone, feeling the conditions of the insomniac out in the quiet of the morning and the beauty of that, also in search of coffee. I thought, like, for some reason it just popped in my head, what if two people with a romantic backdrop perhaps met under these circumstances, and what would that look like? And and it's a little unusual, it's a little weird, but like if they decided to take a chance on each other, what would that be like? And I literally like I got my coffee, I went home and I banged out some pages right there, and it was on my way. And from there, and Nyambi can speak to this, I'm sure, from his perspective,
Yeah.
but from there it became, oh, I get a sense of who these characters are. How do I, as the writer and filmmaker, give them everything that they need such that like this is actually what this man and this woman might say to each other under these circumstances, and how can I do that in a way that feels authentic and is still following whatever it is that I feel like I need to pursue as a question when I'm making a film, to try and say something, and what am I trying to say? And from there, it became kind of a much more collaborative process, obviously, when Nyambi and Rebecca got to work.
Absolutely. Nyambi, can you add to that? What was that like in a dialogue-driven film? Like, what was that like for you?
No, very interesting, because I think for me as an actor and as a viewer, as an audience member, I'm someone who's very much into behavior. So I think more important, the very first thing that in terms of language, in terms of how when we communicate with people, the very first thing that reaches another person is the physical life, in terms of what people see. Sometimes it could be even the smell, or something. But before words come out, we're already communicating. And I think what helped me was try to figure out what's the behavior, what is happening, how am I living my life? What's important? What's not important? How important is that coffee? Is that coffee super important right now? And then is it more important than what she has to say right now? You know what I mean? Like, and it's like you're navigating with what's, and then don't forget about the coffee. But it's about behavior in terms of like, and then listening.
Yeah.
I think the dialogue driven pieces, what makes it easier is the listening. When you're absolutely present and listening to what that other person has to say, it's very easy to be in conversation. It's very easy to, because you're not only are you hearing and being interested in what they have to say, you feel that the other person is listening to you and values what you have to say, and therefore you're watching two people find value in each other.
Absolutely.
In a beautiful way.
No, for sure. And this is a question for Michael and Nyambi. We'll start with Michael. The obvious answer to this question is you hope people enjoy it. You hope they recommend it to their family and friends. Diving deep into it a little bit, what do you both hope people get out of watching The Sleepless?
My hope is that they see that example of what can happen where within our own bounds of like safety and comfort, you take a chance on someone else from a place of maybe you're starting feeling isolated, you're starting feeling alone. But what I've come to love about these characters is the vulnerability and the escalating intimacy that forms between them, not without conflict, not without struggle. Like they do test each other. They
Absolutely.
do hold boundaries, but they very quickly also show trust. And I think we could use more of that in our society now, if not more than ever.
Yeah.
And so that's what I would hope people would take away, the journey of the film, such that people who start feeling maybe alone or very narrowed out in terms of like being unable to sleep in the wee hours of the morning, can come to a place of hope, if not optimism, on a larger level in their lives.
Absolutely. Nyambi, what about you? What are you hoping they get out of watching your performance in this film?
Oh, that's a different story. As far as getting out of my performance.
Yeah, it's true. No, about the movie. What are you hoping the audience gets out of it?
No, I'm kidding. No, as far as from the film, I feel just I mean, I want people to by the end of the film just feel good, feel like that they have they have a that their place in this world has value, no matter what. Because a lot of times, I mean, for me, I've never had the diagnosis of being an insomniac, but I definitely have insomniac tendencies, in terms of, I have an overactive mind. I'm up, to the wee hours of the morning, just, um, trying to, I guess, come to grips with what perfection is.
Yeah.
And what, you know what I mean? Like, I've got to get it perfect. I've got to get today perfect. Well, it's the next day. Well, not the next day until I fall asleep. But the fact that there's just so many things that we are enough, that we have value in this world, where we have our person is out there. Listening is not only being able to give the space to speak our mind, but also being able to give space for another to be. I think that's super important. But ultimately, I want people to value this film for just how much care and love Michael has put into New York City and into these two very interesting people.
The New York City component is definitely huge. The other component, obviously, Michael, we kind of talked about this in, like, I guess, like the unofficial, like, pre-interview what we were about there, is the black and white component, right? I think that's a huge part about this film, is in black and white. Michael, was this more of kind of a choice or a necessity? What was that story like for it being in black and white?
Yeah, the decision came out of a couple of conversations with some of my peers, some other filmmakers, just kind of early on when I was ideating the story. And then when I really thought about it, like thematically, the just the sense that you especially in those early scenes where you meet these two people, what it really feels like when you've been up for hours, when you really would rather have been sleeping. Like it's it's not 100% bad. It's not great because you're still like really tired, but your brain is just operating on the frequency where things are a little bit more stark. They're more not contrasting in like a grainy sense, but in like that where there's like a brightness that doesn't have anything to do with color, right?
Yeah.
And so we really decided that was the place for most of this film to live in, because that can be what it feels like to not be operating at your full capacity at the same time as your brain is whirring.
100%. Before we wrap up this interview, I do this sometimes when I interview people in Paris. I think it's kind of cool, very quick, not like a super long thing, but I thought it would be kind of a cool opportunity for both of you to ask each other a question about the movie that maybe you haven't asked before or talked about, like a quick question or something. You know what I mean? So, is there anything, Nyambi, that you want, like, you can ask Michael and Michael ask Nyambi about it? Like, maybe like what was the like a cool scene that you really enjoyed, or like something on top of your head, very quickly. Doesn't have to be crazy. It could be like a one-word answer, or like even like,
question.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess a question. I don't know why the white shirt is coming to mind. Like, why a white shirt?
Why a white shirt? Yeah, I mean, the short answer is we had pre-selected just because we encountered it in the wild and thought it was perfect. Pre-selected his black and gray shirt, and working along the black and white motif and thinking about just artistically contrast with the backgrounds. Maybe he would wear a white shirt and she would wear a black shirt.
This is my question. This is the real question, actually. Because I actually knew the answer to that one because we already had that conversation. What is it like to direct? This is a tough question. What is it like to direct your wife?
Yeah. Well, directing, Wife at Large. I don't know one case study. Directing Rebecca is pretty easy.
Mm-hmm.
She's a key collaborator early on, so she's the first reader of the script. She is not shy about making suggestions. Don't take 100% of them. I take a lot of them. And in certain ways, it's almost easy because we just know each other so well that we know our strengths and weaknesses. We have a bit of a shorthand. And I just she's the people I trust the most in general. So that's an all or nothing thing, I guess, in certain terms.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you have a question for Nyambi?
Yeah. Do I have a question for Nyambi? I could say, what was it like for you to play a romantic lead?
It's actually really good. It's funny. I like it. I like it. The first thing, the first thing I had to navigate though was the fact that, again, it's a husband and wife that are also part of the team directing with it, whatever. But from jump, they made me feel very comfortable and feel very, they were very collaborative and open to where that fear went away quickly. I'd love to do more of them. I feel like it's a part of me that I don't get to explore enough of in terms of being that romantic lead. Getting a chance to speak on relationship, love, our fears, being able to be in commune with with another human being, with another woman, and exploring that and then bringing that to the people. That's what I want to do. I love doing it. I'm really happy I got that opportunity to do it. Hopefully people, when they watch, they enjoy and feel that sense of budding love.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
Create.
Well, Michael and Nyambi, thank you both so much for coming on Popternative to chat about The Sleepless. I really appreciate it.
Thank you
for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the film is out today, I believe, on Amazon Prime.
No, playing.
Which is exciting. And very quickly, where can people follow you guys on social media to keep update with everything, Michael?
Twitter's probably the best place. I'm at Michael DiBiasio.
Yep. And Nyambi?
Yeah, and you can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at Nyambi, Nyambi.
Amazing. Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative. Previous episodes. The Sleepless is out now. Be sure to watch it. Great film. Until next time, it's just Michael, Nyambi, and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.